All right. Here we are, folks. Ruthless Politics, the podcast number 8. They call it the Ocho.
The Ocho.
Yep.
You know the Ocho is actually a channel on ESPN now? Because
Did they
it was a
do
joke.
that?
Yeah, it was a joke from the dodgeball movie.
Yes,
it was pretty funny joke, actually. And now they actually have a channel with all those weird sports on it, and you can watch it. It's great, man.
Yeah. Okay. See what I'm talking about, Jesse, right there? Yeah, there we go. We can slide that kind of maybe over there for me over there. All right. Well, we got Jesse here with the Space Coast. There we go. I love it.
There's our beautiful buddy.
Center me.
I like to see my Republican right in the center there.
Hey,
there
jazz hands.
Is.
This is how you...
No sneaking out stage left, you freaking commie.
Right. At the National Democratic Socialists, they had a conference.
Why did they have to use that word? Damn it, Bernie.
You have to see this. It's so great. So they have this like point of privilege before they can talk. And there's an actual thing where you're triggered by... You can't applaud. That upsets people. So you have to do this with your hands to show approval through clapping. It's really
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Shit.
That is so stupid.
I mean, talk about control. I mean, how much more do we need to be controlled to where you can't even applaud people that you agree with?
Not to get off topic, but there is a movement kind of to control speech, like controlling kind of being politically correct. And as much as I agree with being politically correct in policy, I hate when they try to bring it over to speech or like clapping.
It's happening right now. Yeah.
Human things we all enjoy.
You seem to enjoy comedy like everybody else. It's destroyed comedy. Comedians won't go on college campuses because they're afraid. And
you know what? Now in the time of Donald Trump would be a great time for some great stand-up comedy, but we don't have the stand-up comedians left because as soon as they get a chance to movie or TV, they're out because, just stand-up comedy's also been ruined by the cell phone because everyone shoots the clips.
They don't like that.
Yeah,
Dave Chappelle's really serious about that. They put them in bags and all these static bags, and you can't even have your cell phone. If you like stand-up comedy, though, good news. Eddie Murphy signed a two-picture comic stand-up deal with Netflix. I think he's getting $60 million for it. So if you like Eddie Murphy and he hasn't done stand-up in
it's been a
20
long
years.
time. I mean, we missed Eddie Murphy so much that we were looking at Charlie Murphy. Like he was filling the void.
That's
for a
how
while.
bad we needed Eddie Murphy back. That Charlie Murphy became a star. God bless. All right. Well, we got some topics that we're going to talk about today. Obviously, the main topic, folks. Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to lead off with the
Epstein. Why did you let him die, Trees?
Why did you
Republicans let him die?
Why did the Republicans let everybody down? Well, that's what we're going to debate. In my opinion, this is the OJ, the 9/11, the whole thing. This is our big moment. We let it slip right through our fingers here. And we're going to discuss right now, and I'm going to let you lead off on some of what your opinions are. But what do you think happened here? Do you believe any of the conspiracies? Do you think this was legit? What happened to Jeffrey Epstein? We think he's dead. What happened?
Okay. On the surface, this is what I kind of think. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein was probably killed or was given the room to kill himself. They may have kind of just said, hey, be a samurai and fall on your sword. And that's kind of what I think happened. I believe that in this country, we have a system of checks and balances. And that when you have one of the parties that needs you for one reason or another, if you're going to out somebody on the other side, then that other party will protect you as part of the checks and balances. But when you have information on both parties, maybe information on Trump, maybe information on Clinton, obviously information on lots of important people because it is said that he kept blackmail on as many people as possible, then I think that you're out of people to protect you. And I think in that scenario, they either give you the room to kill yourself or help to kill you. And if you look, there's questions about the guard that was put in place. He didn't have a roommate. He's supposed to be on suicide watch. I mean, the questions are abundant. And let me tell you, folks, we're not going to get any answers.
No, we're not. And on a side note, we did predict this. You found the clip. So you can always go back and find, and we've talked about Jeffrey Epstein extensively on this podcast because this is big news and it's very important. And we missed out on something very important here. And one of the things that I've talked about is we've never really heard this guy talk. I defy anybody to find me an interview or even just something from Entertainment Tonight or whatever. I mean, he's been famous since the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. He hobnobs with very, very famous people. Now, we've seen the Donald Trump clip, which, by the way, they unearthed. And I don't know if you've seen this, and Donald Trump's like dancing. Like he's standing there with Epstein and he's shimmying his shoulders and they're watching those chicks. And that's when he leans over to Epstein. He's like, oh, she's pretty hot or whatever. And that's all we've got. And even then, Epstein's not talking. Trump's doing all the talking. I find it odd that we don't have any interview with this guy. He was very prominent, although, not A-list Tom Cruise celebrity, but somebody, I find that odd. A lot of pictures you can Google, tons of photos on Epstein. So so Kid Chronic believes that. So you believe he is dead, though? You're not of the conspiracy theory that he's alive and was given a hiding
could
thing.
our government give him a sleeping pill or something and push him out the back door? I mean, sure,
Right.
anything is possible with Epstein. We talked about it on this podcast, and we called it before it happened. And we said that the government needed to protect this guy, that he had information on both sides, and that if they let him die, it was going to be a serious controversy. And here we are, they've let him die, and it appears that we're not going to get many answers out of it.
Right. We're not going to get any, certainly not
Here's
from him.
one of the most interesting things I found in my research of Epstein. It's not really the Americans that he hung out with that I found so interesting. He met with MSB multiple times.
And MSB stands for?
It is Mohammed I don't know his
Oh,
actual
you're talking about a Saudi Arabian situation?
The Saudi Arabian crown prince. It's Mohammed bin Salman.
Salman.
Mohammed bin Salman.
I
That's
never
what
heard
the
anyone
MBS
call him
stands for.
okay,
MBS is his nickname.
Yeah, Mohammed bin
So
Salman.
he met with MBS multiple times, and then
That's
they
a
also,
Kushner buddy.
Yeah, if you look back and you read on it, Acosta said that the reason he didn't go after Epstein was because he was an intelligence asset, and I think everybody was acting like maybe he was an Assad agent. I've saw in little articles in smaller publications, but I think what might have happened is that he actually was a U.S. government agent because he had connections to MSB, and I'm sure the U.S. government wanted as much information as they could get on the Crown Prince as possible at any time, and that would be something big enough to get him this light sentence that he got last time around.
Well, it is. They told Acosta that this is above your pay grade. Just do what we tell you to do as far as Epstein goes, which was even giving him prostitution charges. His charges alone were a problem. They gave him his sentence was a problem. His charges were a problem. He was with that girl, and yes, he paid her, but they found a loophole to he exchanged money, we'll make it a prostitution charge, and that is not nearly as much as a pedophilia charge or child molesting or whatever. So they already gave him that. Now, the other thing they did was, and which you just hit on, was the government told him once he was released, we're watching you, do what you do, we want information. So he became an informant for this country after that fact. Besides what you're talking about that he rubs elbows with, royalty in England, royalty in Saudi Arabia, royalty probably in Israel, you know what I mean? He's a Mossad agent, whether he is or not. Ghislaine Maxwell, they're almost certain is. Her father, Robert Maxwell, we know 100% was. So who he tied in with was very, very serious people.
It said that he was advising Elon Musk at Tesla, even though Elon Musk denies it, but there's a lot of proof to that.
He lied.
Yes. And
I love Elon Musk. He lied.
There's some other fascinating facts about our boy Epstein here. He had an island that he called Little St. James that he was developing in the Bahamas. And he actually must have had a lot of money because this island, he had a ferry at one point that would take 200 workers a day from the mainland over to the island to work and back. So you can imagine the type of construction that's going on when you buy a ferry to ferry people back and forth to the island. And then he bought another island next door. And the locals used to call the island, and this is true, Orgy Island or Pedophile Island.
Yeah. So they knew what was going on. Obviously, it was weird, this white man, and it was probably made for a lot of gossip on the islands over there for those folks.
And he had a rule that the staff, if he was on the island, was not to be seen. So when he showed up, it's like they're playing a shadow game around him.
Yeah.
And the staff said that there was a lot of girls hanging out topless, sunbathing naked, all of that stuff, people coming and going all the time because Epstein used the island all the time.
Yeah.
But the staff said that the girls did not look underage.
No, Epstein definitely. Epstein was definitely with women of normal age, but he also definitely, obviously, dabbled with these young girls.
Had an